Joining us now is Dow CEO Jim Fitterling. Jim, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. This is really interesting. When I think of nuclear plants, I think of powering electricity for a city or more. I don't necessarily think of it as powering it for a plant. Is this a new concept?
Well, we're pleased to be working with X Energy, our partner, under the DOE's Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program to bring advanced nuclear or small modular nuclear reactors into industry. This will be first of its kind in industry to basically take our power and steam production at the Seadrift, Texas site completely to nuclear. And we chose X Energy because their technology allows us not only to generate the electricity we need at the site, but to generate high-pressure steam. And most of industry, our industry in particular, but many materials industries require a lot of process heat and steam as much as they do electricity.
I also found it interesting because nuclear is sort of out of vogue, Jim, and there are all sorts of safety concerns that I think people think of. Germany, just last week, shut down the last 3 nuclear plants. I know it's kind of a controversial decision, but was it tough to get Department of Energy on board with this?
Well, this is a whole new nuclear application that's coming out. These advanced small modular reactors will be the future of safe, reliable baseload power. One of the challenges that you can see happening in the country right now, from California, even Texas, up and down the East Coast, is we're starting to have times of day where you're starting to have power outages, and that's because we've taken out baseload power and replaced it primarily with wind and solar. We're big advocates of wind and solar, and we use a lot of wind and solar, but we need 24/7 reliable power. Power needs to be sustainable, reliable, and affordable, and that's where we think new nuclear fits. This is an inherently safer technology than what you're used to seeing in the utility sector. Nuclear is based on light water reactors, and you're thinking about large 1 gigawatt units.
Exactly.
One module of the X Energy XE100 is an 80 megawatt module that generates enough power and steam for us. We'll put 4 of those small modules together at the site, and we'll take the site to 0 carbon emissions from power and steam. So it'll eliminate 440,000 tons of carbon and steam emissions just by that one application. And we think on top of hydrogen and carbon capture, which will also be critical, small modular nuclear will be the future for industry and probably for utilities.
That's interesting, Jim. You know, your point about the grid demand is a good one. And I wondered if you think concerns about that are going to get more acute because of, I don't know, EV adoption, or is the market efficient enough to get that supply out in front of that kind of curve?
Yeah, I think 2 things have to happen. One, we have to realize that clean natural gas has been one of the things that got us to this point. And it's a simple calculation on the grid. If you take 1,000 megawatts of coal-fired power off the grid, you can't just replace it with 1,000 megawatts of wind and solar. That 1,000 megawatts of wind and solar delivers about 240 megawatts reliably to the grid. That 1,000 megawatts of coal delivers 900 megawatts reliably to the grid. So if you were to replace that coal with advanced nuclear, much more reliable supply to the grid, or natural gas, much more reliable supply. And I think we have to realize that from an economic standpoint, people at home are not going to want to live through days where they have hours of power outages. People in industry are not going to move their factories back to a country that can't provide them 24/7 reliable power. So we think nuclear is part of that future equation. We think hydrogen and carbon capture are a big part as well.